Hello and welcome everyone, it's been Rock39. Today I'll be, sharing information with everyone that pays attention to this. I've been messing around with builds for a long time now, and I've come to realize that some skills are necessary and some aren't. What I'm doing now is setting up a basic build that probably most people have in their arsenal. It's basic build is what I like to call it. Something that you can start with that'll help you out if you're going to play on higher difficulties and lower ones as well. Now, I'm what I would consider a very casual player. I'm not one that's super awesome at the game. I just like playing it, and I like getting better. I like progressing like everyone else, I'm sure. But these are some skills that I would try to use. Now, Inspire and that Hostage Taker Ace are optional for me because I've learned that with the proper gameplay and a less risky mentality, one doesn't need Inspire to play this game. You can actually do some massive killing, get rid of all the enemies around your down teammate, maybe throw a flashbang or something, go get them up manually. But I'm showing you this because I pare back a build after taking what I think is essential. Okay, let's say this is essential for people. If you're playing alone like I do, I play alone a lot, so what's the point in taking Inspire, right? But I do recommend acing uppers or doctor bags depending on your style of play and what you're trying to get out of your build. With that being said, this is all the maximum amount of points I would give to a build that isn't an Inspire build. I'll even run it like this. 11 first aid kits is plenty to keep you alive. This Hostage Taker Ace is usually for perk decks, for the most part, that don't regenerate health or you can armor gate with. Anarchist is an armor gating perk deck, meaning you don't lose health if you can keep your armor up. Grinder, which is my go-to perk deck for Death Wish on down, it regenerates health with dealing damage. So Hostage Taker Aced would be pointless in my opinion. But confident acing that one is great because you get to carry two jokers. If you do the build this way, you're going to give yourself more movement speed and more health by acing partners in crime.
Put your motherfucking hands up! Get on your knees! Cuffs on! Hands up! Hands up! Up! Now down on your knees! Now, cuff! Give me cover! Give me cover!
Christ, LA's wrecked. Rubble everywhere.
Joker just allows you to convert cops to your side. Acing it gives them more ability to do damage, and your time to convert them is a lot faster, but I think it's a waste of 4 points, but that's all in my opinion. So play with these things, learn how to get the most out of your build, and if you only need one joker, I have a lot of builds that only use one and the build works fine. So it's just a preference thing. But this extra point for stable shot, that's not really necessary, but just in case, so I'm just paring it back. This is all the armor I would use in all reality. I don't like using heavy armor. If I was to wear armor, it'd be the lightweight ballistic vest for the grinder, and the most I would do is something like this to give it more armor value to a ballistic vest. If you want to go all the way up the tree to get to Iron Man Ace so you can wear ICTV, by all means, this is one of the best ways to do it, I think, because you can throw bags further. That's useful in a game where we usually throw bags. Die Hard Basic, it lets you take less damage when like you're fixing a drill or maybe interacting with things. So obviously that's pretty broad, but it's just how it explains it. But once again, if you're wearing ICTV, I think you could probably do better without it. It's just my experience allows me to move quicker, and I'm not in a crossfire as long as someone who's moving really slow with heavy armor. So I might take 1 or 2 shots and get into cover. You might take 3 or 4 shots before you even get to cover. So that's kind of why I don't really like heavy armor. Scavenger Basic is another great skill. If you're picking up ammo and you're having problems and you don't use this skill, it's because you can't reach it. If it's just out of reach, if you're using this skill, you'll be able to pick most of them up. So definitely a need skill for me. Same with Jack of all trades. I'm not going to talk too much about that. This 1 point in Hardware Expert saves you quite a bit of time when you're fixing drills that are in need of repair. It helps you do it way faster and higher difficulties. You don't want to waste that extra 2 or 3 seconds on a drill if it only costs 1 point to make it go just a bit faster. Now here, duck and cover, basic and artful dodger, that's all I really need to get some movement speed. I don't add parkour because I move fast enough without it. I usually run 2-piece suit, and like I said, if I go anywhere near armor, it'll be the lightweight ballistic vest. That's just me. Now here in second wind, basic optical illusions, just to get high value target ace. I like running critical builds, so definitely would, depending on my detection risk, if it's 6 or lower, I use low blow basic. If it's higher than 20, well, if it's between 26 and 23, I will go with acing low blow. This skill is kind of awesome in my opinion if you can keep your detection risk down through not wearing heavy armor or modding your weapons. They will take a hit in accuracy and stability, but let's say for instance shotguns don't need that much accuracy, and stability is always great, but it's not that necessary. Low blow is all you really need. You don't even have to spec into any of these skills here. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. I've done it and it works fine. So let's see, I'm going to give all the points in the world to everything except gun skills, aside from low blow aced, okay? And then here I also get these basic skills because they max out the damage on your melee weapon if you get a lot of kills. It's just a multiplier, damage multiplier for your melee, and until you kill someone with it, that damage multiplier will stay in effect. So each swing will give you a maximum multiplier hit until you've eliminated something. If you charge it up, you can one hit a minigun dozer, at least on Death Wish. That's mostly where I play, and it is possible.
Oh, shit! Bulldozers eliminated!
So with that, if you're one of those that likes to have 9 lives ace, let's give you that too. With this right here, I can run a pretty decent shotgun build, assault rifle build, it really doesn't matter. I can armor gate by using bullseye aced, even though that's a bit of overkill actually. 5 points is all your armor really needs to keep you alive if you don't take more than 1 hit at a time. I know it sounds tricky, but yeah, 25 points there. And there's 2 remaining points. Now, just so you're aware, I don't really use Inspire that way. I don't bother with quick fix even when I'm running alone, unless I'm not going all the way up the tree. I use quick fix basic because I can put first aid kit and doctor bags down quicker.
I placed the first aid kit here. Anyone needs first aid? It's here. I placed the first aid kit here. For anyone needs first aid, it's here. First aid kit.
Aside from that, if I go up the tree, I use painkillers regardless if I'm using uppers or combat doctor, because when I'm inspiring someone off the ground, I'm giving them 100, or not 100, I'm giving them 80% less damage for 5 seconds. That doesn't seem like a lot, but 5 seconds is enough time for you to get off the ground, get somewhere safe, hit a med kit or a doctor bag or something, and get in cover. Quick fix, 10% damage decrease for 120 seconds does sound pretty cool, but to me it's all for the Inspire. I don't really care about a damage reduction for when I take a first aid kit, so that's just a me thing. Do what you want to do. If you don't like Inspire, don't use it at all. But as you see here, I'm going to give 1 point to Stable Shot and 1 to Underdog. And honestly, because of the crits that you're going to get with Low Blow Aced, if you're at 26 or lower, which if you're not, don't bother with crits. But if you can, through your weapons and wearing light armor or none at all, this build in actuality will work. Now, for some of you who may not be familiar with the fact that you can't pierce enemy body armor unless you're using a perk deck like Grinder or Rogue, here's another way that one could get up here and make their weapons better. Simply by acing Surefire, your ranged weapons can now pierce enemy body armor, so if you're not as accurate at shooting faces, every hit's going to count now. With the Grinder and the Rogue, it's a percentage chance of them penetrating the body armor, so it doesn't work all the time. But I'll do a quick demonstration here so you guys and ladies can see what I mean. One is without Surefire. And I was using the Crew Chief perk deck because it doesn't have any body piercing or armor piercing abilities. And then the second time around, I went ahead and did it with Surefire Ace, and you'll see the difference. Okay, now with that being said, this build is good. Now, I wouldn't use 9 lives because I really don't do 1 downs. If I play in Death Sentence, I have a build specifically for that. Actually, a few builds specifically for that, but for this particular casual play build, this is definitely a way you can test your weapons and see just how good or how bad they are. Now, I could even throw Unseen Strike on here just to have those extra chance of critical hits when you're shooting your non-modified weapons. Some might say this is a modifier for weapons, and you're right, it is, but does it need to be used? I can honestly say no. Mainly because although I'm not that good at the game, I do aim for the head. I try to get more headshots than anything else, and it's effective. The fact that I use Grinder might be also a benefit because, once again, Grinder has an armor piercing ability that's built into the maxed out perk deck. If I'm not mistaken, it's between 20 or 30. I'm not exactly sure. It reads kind of strange, but that's the basic gist of it. So that and Rogue, I believe Rogue has 25% armor penetration chance, whereas the Grinder, I saw 2 different cards. One said 10 and the last one said 20, so I don't know if you add them together or if it's just a maximum of 20. Either way, if you want to make sure that all your shots are counting, go ahead and ace surefire. That is if you're using weapons with bullets. Now I imagine it works with arrows too, but I'm not I don't use arrows that often. I've tried them and I don't really enjoy using them, but I have a problem with LMGs too, so it's all player preference. Like this, all of this is subjective, so you players and guys and ladies, all of you, you know, mess around with these builds, figure out what makes you stronger. Now if you want, you can ace Berserker, maybe even get this just to get rid of the 2 points. Either way, this will help you make your weapons a lot stronger as well. If the catch is you have to be below 50% health to do it. So if you start taking damage, your guns will get stronger after you've hit that 50 or lower health percentage. You can force your build to reach those numbers. I'll have to remove some points from somewhere else. It's not a big deal. By getting up here and taking Frenzy Basic, the benefit of this is you're going to only get 30% of your full health, which puts you in a Berserker state. You'll also take 10% less damage, so that's definitely a plus. Now if you want to go full Frenzy, it's quite pricey. There's 12 points just for this skill up here to be aced, not to mention how many it takes to get up here. But you're going to take 25% less damage and you'll be in a Berserker state right off the gate, or right out of the start. Going into Frenzy Berserker, I'm still kind of new at it. I know how it works. I don't find it useful for my play style, and it doesn't work with Grinder. It makes no sense to have Berserker on a Grinder perk deck, at least for me. If someone else has figured out how to do it, my hat is off to them. But for me, all I really need is low blow aced and a good set of weapons that can keep me below 26 or 26 or lower, and that's that. Now, does that afford me the ability to wear more armor? Yes, it does, because I can come over here and make sure that a lightweight ballistic vest is as concealable as possible, and there will be no hit on my detection risk. As you saw, without it it's a 3, and with it on it's a 3. Now I can get into some heavier weapons because that's what I do. Well, actually I like my shotguns, but here's assault rifle, and I like this setup: assault rifle and the Grim shotgun with Dragon's Breath. Detection risk is 20. I can mod these weapons even further to push that detection risk to 23, and that'll maximize my critical hits. If I leave it at 20, I'm still going to get the full 30% critical hit chance, but why not push it to that 23? If you got the extra points, you're just going to make your weapons better.